Kind of have a special observation today. We want to have a Halloween party after the service, so we had some pre-service preparations to make. And in just a minute now, I'm going to have our junior YBA members do the actual chairing. Junior Young Buddhist Association members do the chairing. And first thing I'm going to do is ring the bell when they tell me it's okay to do that. So those of you who have a written program, which is like 3 people in the room, we're reversing the first 2 things. We're just going to have, I'm going to go ahead and ring the calling bell before we have our Young Buddhist Association members chair and greet you. So we're actually are underway. This is it. And we've got the incense burning in the burner. We got the candles on, and we certainly appreciate your being here. And we do trust that there are hundreds of people watching this on YouTube. And by the end of my Dharma message, there'll be dozens of people watching it on YouTube. So, thank you. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Davatsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Davatsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Davatsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Davatsu. Namana Buddha Manda, no Amida Butsu.
So hi, welcome to today's service. I'm Mikala, and today I'm going to be chairing with Ren and Panther. Okay, yeah, so will you please stand for the meditation reading? May the wisdom of the all-compassionate one so shine within our hearts and minds that the mists of error and the foolish vanity of self be dispelled. So shall we understand the changing nature of existence and reach our spiritual peace. Namamida. Namandabs. You can sit down. Okay.
So I'm going to lose my mask when I'm up on the Nijine here, since I'm a good 30 feet away from the closest person, but we're still observing rather strict protocols here at the Pasadena Buddhist Temple for the sake of others. We're going to chant Gassho to Amida, which is a piece that Suji Sensei wrote, and I'll have Ren make a few comments before we do that.
Hi. We're doing Gassho to Amida, like Reverend Gibbs said, and please look up towards the big screen here and follow along. Thank you very much.
Now this is to the Junirai melody, and I've just kept the Junirai melody throughout and not done the trilly stuff at the end that Suji Sensei had adapted. So it's just a rather simple pattern, same as Junirai, so I think you'll find yourself picking it up right away. I recite Amida's name with deep joy and gratitude. I Gassho to Amida. Trees and grasses and flowers all grow in great compassion. The light shines throughout the world. I Gassho to Amida. Flowers bloom and flowers fall. From the seed sprout new flowers. This truth is unchanging. I Gassho to Amida. Springtime brings the happy birds. Their songs all praise Amida. I join them in Nembutsu. I Gassho to Amida. When I call Amida's name, it's Amida calling me. Buddha's voice, my voice are one. I Gassho to Amida. When I'm lonely, I recite Namo Amida Butsu. Then I feel great compassion. I Gassho to Amida. Nembutsu in work and play. Every day with Amida, every moment filled with light. I Gassho to Amida. Remember the golden chain, kindness to all living things. I will follow this teaching. I Gassho to Amida. In the clear bright morning sun, in the fading light of day, in the darkness of the night, I Gassho to Amida. Namo Amida Butsu. I live in great compassion. This great power guides my life. I Gassho to Amida. Namandabu, 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 namandabu. Ganiya shikudoku, byodo se iesai, no Shin Ojo. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Butsu.
Thank you. We will now have Gatha reading The Texture of Life on page 157. Would the Sangha please rise? Please remain standing for the devotional reading. When are you guys going to do this? Do I lead or do you lead? Okay. Okay, I will lead. We're going to do the golden chain. Page 18, is it? Page 8. Page 8. 8. And we are running late. Okay. Page 8 for the golden chain, and you join right in with me right from the beginning if you can. So we'll go on a count of 3. 1, 2. I am a link in Amida's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. May I be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. May I think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Thank you very much. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Please be seated.
We will now have a Dharma message by Reverend Gibbs.
Well, good morning, and thank you for attending this service or observing it at home. As always, I must thank Alan Goto, our tech expert, and Kathy Kumagai for assisting him on the technical end of things, and also Kathy for playing the organ. I want to thank Kyoko Gibbs for doing the flowers, and I want to thank the members of the Junior Young Buddhist Association for chairing the service. That's Ren, Mikala, and Panther, who are speaking on occasion. There are other members who do not have speaking roles today. In September, you may recall that we had a long stretch of hot weather. For those of us who live here, we found it quite difficult. But then the first 2 weeks of October have been pretty temperate. They've been very temperate. And then it turned hot again, but not by my standards, not by the standards of someone who's from Fresno. And then this morning it was cold, chilly, and now I think it's going to be a really nice day. I think we're looking at like 70, 71 degrees. Very nice day today. So I bring this up because weather is something very important to us, over which we have almost no control. There's kind of a spiritual lesson in that. The very most important things in our lives are the same things we have no control over. We have to accept that. That is the human condition. That's the condition of biological life on planet Earth. Most of the most important things in your life are completely out of your control. This can be stressful to realize this. In our own tradition, the Jodo Shinshu school of Mahayana, recognizing our relative helplessness is a crucial part of coming to awareness and the recognition that what really needs to be done is something we can't do by ourselves, on our own. And this is what in our tradition is called ki no jinshin. What we really need to do, is to save the world. Save the human world, save the mammalian world, save animal planet. This is what we need to do. Should we do that this afternoon? What am I to do? We must save the world. We must transform the bases of existence. Open up the path of infinite possibilities for all people, etc., etc., etc. We need to do all that. We cannot, any one of us, individually accomplish this. We must find deep, broad, unwavering sources of support. If we are to trust that our hopes and aspirations can be realized, we must trust in a deep and broad, unwavering source of support. This is Amida Buddha, this is our tradition, this is our community. We can easily recognize our incapacity in the matter of saving the world. The important thing is to come to a genuine humility. And humility is knowing what you can't do in the time being, for the time being, while still endeavoring to do some good acts that you think you may accomplish. Humility isn't giving up. Humility is perspective, keeping in perspective. Humility is being honest with ourselves and as much as possible being honest with others. Now, it isn't that we're not capable of anything, and it isn't that we have to do all this alone. We don't have to do any of it alone. For attaining enlightenment, we rely entirely on the promises of Amida Buddha, the active vow power that is realizing this promise to lead all people, all willing persons into the light. Human persons, animal persons, any kind of persons you got. Conscious beings formed by the intermingling of light in a distant galaxy, that too. We got to help those guys. They may be just a half step off of enlightenment. Now, we do need this incredibly vast source of support to save the world, but even to continue day after day, for staying sane in our turbulent human world, well, we have our friends and family, and they're crucial to our staying sane in this world. For keeping on track, for assuring that our aim is true, we have the support of our friends and family and of our tradition. Please allow me to speak just for a little bit longer about our tradition, about the heritage in the Pure Land stream of Mahayana Buddhist tradition. Shakyamuni Buddha, about 2,500 years ago, saw thoroughly the interpenetrating, inseparable oneness of all things. Now, jumping ahead 1,700 years, there was a lot of other things that happened. But 1,700 years later, 800 years ago, our denominational founder, Shinran Shonin, studied at the Tendai complex on Mount Hiei for 20 years. This was like a research institute, sort of the JPL of the day. But he did not find what he needed there. What he needed to find was a source of strength and support for everyone. You don't find that in a graduate program. You know, you can't share what you're doing in a PhD program with your niece who's 12 years old. But your niece who's 12 years old really matters. So we better have somebody put this in terms that can be explained to a 12-year-old. If it has to be understood at a depth beyond what a 12-year-old can understand, it's hopeless, because that's about my level. And you know, there is this thing about cognitive decline, and it's real. And we all go through it. That's what I've realized in my own aging process. It's not like some people get Alzheimer's disease and some people don't. Some people get Alzheimer's disease or one of those other horrible diseases that cause brain deterioration, and all of us go through cognitive decline over time. So we're all going to reach the capacity of a 12-year-old again. We had this capacity at 12. We went to school, we went to high school, went to college. Some of us went to graduate school. Your capacity goes way up, and then with cognitive decline, it comes right back down again to about where you were at 12. So Shinran had to pull this graduate school level study, this research institute level of study down to the level that he could share it with 12-year-olds and with farmers who'd never had a chance to go to school at all, who cannot read. This is not something you're liable to accomplish at a research institute. He wanted a gate that everyone could enter. If you want to do important work, you may need a lot of education. You might need to finish off your studies at a research institute. Then it's time to leave the research institute and do the work. Just like Kwai Chang Caine, Shinran Shonin came to that point of realizing it is time for you to leave the temple. At the temple, at the Research Institute on Mount Hiei, at the Tendai Complex on Mount Hiei, Shinran discovered the principles of universal liberation. Through 20 years of study, research, and practice, he realized this teaching of universal liberation. The Buddha's vow to everyone, Amida Buddha's promise for everyone. Realizing this, he unwrapped this heritage. He simplified the core Nembutsu teaching. He dropped some of the conventions of Tendai Buddhism. And he, along with Honen Shonin, his direct teacher, and 2 or 3 other of his students, established this new, inclusive, soft, gentle current of Mahayana Buddhist tradition. The Jodo Shinshu current running through the vast stream of Mahayana Buddhism has a gentle touch to it. Flooding into our lives is acceptance. Kindness is flooding into our lives. Inclusion is pouring over us. This spirit of kindness, acceptance, and inclusion is what we are receiving through the Nembutsu practice. We never were alone, actually. We never were alone. But without access to the Buddhist teachings, it is hard for a person to know that. Separation is an illusion. That is the truth of it. There's one universal process, and each of us is a sub-process within that, and the sub-processes aren't separate from universal process. Separation is an illusion. That is true. Shinran realized this truth after 20 years of inquiry, 20 years of probing the depths of the Buddhist tradition, 20 years of research, 20 years of philosophical study and analysis, 20 years of ritual practice, 20 years of meditative practice. These were all necessary for him to tell us that you are not alone. We are not alone. Research is important. Findings that people can understand is important too. We are not alone. You are not alone. You will never be alone. Shakyamuni Buddha did the groundwork already. Mahayana Buddhist tradition built a huge, helpful system on that foundation, on the foundation of Shakyamuni Buddha's realization. All I need to do is to remember that I'm not alone. All you need to do is to remember that you are not alone. Saying the Buddha's name every now and then in forms like Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, I rely on the source of limitless wisdom and endless light. Namanda, Buddhamanda, Namanda, Buddha. Saying the Buddha's name can help us to remember that we're not alone. The Nembutsu is that treasure that Shinran pulled out of the tradition after 20 years of research. Shinran pulled this treasure out of the tradition and emphasized it for us. The Nembutsu has many forms: Kimyo, Jinjipo, Muge Kornorai, Namo Fukashigi Kornorai, Namanda, Buddhamanda, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amitafat. There are many forms, verbal forms of the Nembutsu, and we will close with saying some of those traditional forms of the Nembutsu together for just a minute or two. But you know, I often give the translation of the most common form of Nembutsu. Worldwide, the most common form of Nembutsu is Namo Amida Butsu, sometimes pronounced Namo Amida Butsu. In current Chinese, that's Namo Tofu. It's the same characters, it's just pronunciation changes over time. Namo Tofu, Namo Tafat, Namo Amida Butsu, those are all the same Chinese characters in Chinese, Vietnamese, and English. And Chinese, Sino-Japanese, and Vietnamese. There are innumerable forms, but they all come down to they all come down to saying that I rely upon Amida Buddha, who is the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. They all come down to saying that, but you know what they mean? They mean we are not alone. That is what the Buddha is saying to you. You are not alone. We are not alone. We are together in this. There's one big thing, and we're all connected in it, and we're never going to be alone. This is what Namo Amida Butsu really means. We are not alone. We will never be alone. The Buddha has promised us that. The depths of being, through the realization of the Buddha, have spoken to us and promised us this. You will not be alone. With that thought in mind, I will ask you to join me in, as we say, a closing Gassho, putting our hands in a posture of respect and peace, and saying the Buddha's name a few times in whichever form you feel like at the moment. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Reverend Gibbs, for that enlightening Dharma message. Now, we will have closing meditation reading. Will the Sangha please rise? Thank you. Buddha's compassion embraces all people, and his never-lessening desire is for their happiness. He loves people as parents of their children, and he wishes for them the highest blessedness, namely, that they might be able to pass beyond this ocean of life and death. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. Please be seated.
Okay, we will now have announcements. Please join us for the Halloween party in the classroom. And when the haunted stage is ready, we'll let you know. Are there any other announcements?
I think thanks to Alan Butler, we have everything we need to have up on the screen.
Yeah. Well, good morning, everyone. Just a reminder, next Sunday, there will be no service here because the entire Southern District will be meeting at Pasadena Buddhist Temple. If you're not able, well, and today's the last day that you can sign up to get the Zoom, to attend in person at Pasadena, but they will send you a link to the service. Are they having service here? Oh, so if you want to come here, Kathy will have the service on the big screen. It's a commemoration of the 850th year of Shinran Shonin's birth and 800 years of Jodo Shinshu teaching. And so it's an entire, there'll be no temples open except Pasadena and Pasadena to show it here. And the other thing that's not on here is origami. We're doing origami Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock via Zoom, or come here at 10. And if you didn't get the e-blast or the recent mailing, we're going to be making mochi end of December, but we need to know how many people are coming. Hopefully it'll be with kids, bring friends, and we'll be making mochi here, so you could just take it home. We're not selling it. It's just whatever you touch, you take home and you eat. Okay? And is that it? And oh yes, we are doing bingo yakisoba, and if you are over the age of 21, we have a sake tasting experience that night, but it's limited to 25, so get your forms in quickly. Okay?
So I will have the junior Y do the closing of the service. Just to let you know, as you've been told, there are some snacks. Please come join us if you can. I have an informal discussion of Buddhism after the service whenever we don't have snacks. I can still talk over there, but that's why right after service I sit around and talk with people who want to talk about Buddhism when we don't have something else. But I'm always back at 1 o'clock for a study class, and I'm here at noon for meditation. And as the screen shows you, we're here during the week for meditation, study classes, and Tai Chi. Hope to see you all again soon. Thank you so much for attending this service. I will turn the mic back to the members of the Junior Young Buddhist Association.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining us. And if you haven't already burned incense, you can now do so. And if you're able to, please join us after service in the classroom. Thank you.